Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca from devourdinner.com. Happy Sunday everybody and welcome to my kitchen. I'm excited to be here. I hope you are too. Today I'm going to be doing two recipes that are viewer favorites for the Thanksgiving holiday, and I can't wait to show you just how simple and easy they both are to make. So welcome. As always, we're going to take just a moment or two to make sure that all of our technology is connected and that you can hear me okay. We are live on Facebook as well as streaming live to YouTube as well. So if you're hopping in from either one of those platforms, please say hello. Let me know where you're from and we're gonna get started here. So welcome, welcome. The two recipes that we're gonna do today is Instant Pot mashed potatoes. Now this recipe is super simple, and I know everybody loves mashed potatoes for the Thanksgiving holiday. I know that that's one of my absolute favorite. Whether you like them plain with butter or you like to smother it in gravy, it doesn't matter. These mashed potatoes are the creamiest, yummiest potatoes, and they're so simple to make. The great news is you can make a large batch for a big crowd or just to have leftovers. So that's one recipe we're gonna do. The second recipe is a corn pudding recipe, which is one of my favorites as well. Super simple recipe. This recipe can also be done in the Instant Pot or electric pressure cooker, but today I'm gonna show you how we do it in the oven because we got our pressure cooker going with potatoes. All right, everybody, welcome, welcome. All right, I see a few people on. Hello, Amy. Amy is from the Instant Pot 101 for Beginner group, so welcome. We sure appreciate the love and support from Amy and her team of admins and moderators over there that come and help support week after week. And so thank you so much. If you're hopping on over from the Instant Pot 101 for Beginners, I'm Rebecca from devourdinner.com, where I focus on easy to make recipes for busy families using common ingredients. That's kind of a mouthful. All right, let me drop some links and we're gonna get started because it's just fun. Let's see here. All right. There, we're gonna start. We're starting with our oven baked corn pudding. Hi Kathy, how are you? Kathy's from Maine, Doreen is here. And we've got another Kathy as well from Florida. You guys are great. You know, last week I told you I wasn't gonna be live this week. You know my life has been crazy. My traveling has been insane, back and forth from the old house here to Utah. And I was able to get away and I'm back in Utah for just a hot minute. And so I thought, well, why don't we go live? Why don't we show some more recipes? So thank you for joining in. Hi Catherine, how are you? Okay. Let's go top down. Let's start this. Let's get it going. So here in this bowl, I've got about a half of a cup of sour cream. So we're going to make the corn pudding recipe. It uses a box of Jiffy cornbread mix. We're going to use a can of corn, whole kernel corn. I have rinsed and drained it. And we're also going to use a can of creamed corn. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to throw the corn in. We're going to throw the creamed corn in. We're going to get rid of both of those. We are also going to put in 2 eggs. And we're going to put in melted butter. And a little bit of sugar. Not a lot, just a little bit. Then we're just going to mix it up. I'm kind of going after the eggs first because I do want those eggs all mixed up. I don't want to get them hidden in this mixture. You can use a fork. I'm using a spoon. But I want to get this all mixed together before we add the cornbread mix. This is a wonderful recipe that you can like prep ahead of time, get out all the ingredients, and you can ask one of the teenagers to help with, or if you have a visitor coming over, This is an excellent recipe for them to mix together because it doesn't require a whole lot. All right, now we're gonna put in our cornbread. So it's just 1 box of the cornbread mix. And we're just gonna mix this in. I wanna break up some of those clumps. Okay, you guys, I love corn pudding. I love it. I don't make it very often, I have to admit, but it is a favorite. Now, this recipe can be made, like I said, in your pressure cooker using a springform pan. You'll want to spray your springform pan. You're going to want to wrap the bottom of the pan in aluminum foil, and you're going to wrap the top of the pan in aluminum foil after you've put the mixture inside. The reason for that is springform pans can leak and water from the pressure cooker can come in from the bottom, and you don't want that. I'm gonna bake this, and I'm gonna bake it in a little bit bigger pan than what I normally do. I'm gonna do it in a 9x13 pan. The reason for that, let me tell you. Let me spray this. This recipe cooks for about 45 minutes, which sounds like a long time. And for a live recipe demo, that's a long time. So I'm doing it in a little bit bigger pan, a 9x13 pan, so it's a little bit thinner so that it'll cook a little bit quicker. All right. And then just spread it to all 4 corners. Now, fun fact. I know Amy from the Instant Pot 101 for Beginners, she has made this many times. But here is a nice fun substitution that you can do. You can mix into that bowl a can of diced green chilies. You know the little 4-ounce cans? You can throw that into this. Give your corn pudding a little bit of a zest to it. So fun, delicious. Try it sometime. Okay, we're gonna pop this in the oven at 350 degrees. Get it baking. See how quick and easy that is? Super fast. All right, we're gonna let that do its thing. How about we say hello to some people? Hi, Sherry. Sherry's from Nebraska. Amy says, I love making corn pudding in the Instant Pot. I use a bundt pan. I've served it for the last several years for Thanksgiving. Amy, I've never done it in a bundt pan. That's a great idea. Do you do it in one of like the smaller mini bundt pans so it fits in your pressure cooker? Or are you using an 8-quart pressure cooker that's a little bit bigger? Question. Okay, the next thing we're doing, mashed potatoes. Now, I have already peeled my potatoes and I have cut my potatoes. I covered them so they wouldn't turn really brown. But I want to talk about the potatoes really fast. So these are good old Idaho spuds, fresh from this year's harvest. They have been washed, peeled, and then I have sliced them. The potatoes I'm using are about that big in size. So after they're peeled and I rinse them, I slice it up into like 6 to 7 of these slices. The goal is to keep everything as uniform as possible. Now I could go further and cut these in half. I'm not today, but you could. We're gonna bring this right over because I want you to see what we got going on. And I'm just gonna pour these in. Okay, we're gonna add some garlic because, oh, my garlic's not even opened yet. Gotta cheat here, you guys. So some ask, why do I throw the garlic into the pressure cooker with the water? Any ideas? Well, it's because if I cook the potatoes with garlic, I can even throw in some salt. It helps to season those potatoes all the way through, even though I'm going to be pouring off the water at the end. All right, we're going to fill this up with water. You want to fill the water up just to the top of the potatoes. They don't need to be over the top of the potatoes, but just to the top. There we go. All right, our potatoes are in here. We've peeled them, we've sliced them, we've added garlic, we've added salt, we've covered them with water, and now we're gonna start them. Then we get to hang out and chat, you guys. That's my favorite part. All right, we're gonna move this off to the side. You're gonna set your pressure cooker. Use the plus and minus keys. You're gonna set it for 8 minutes. After you get it set, it just says on the front, right? It's gonna take a minute and then it beeps at you. The beeping means that it has accepted the readings that you put in. It's now taking those readings and it's gonna follow the directions, right? Which are, it's gonna bring the water up to a boil. Now we put a lot of water in there and there's a lot of potatoes. I used about 3 pounds of potatoes. So for my big Idaho spuds, I think I used 5 or 6 potatoes. I don't remember. So it's gonna take a minute to bring that water to a boil. When the water comes to a boil, it's gonna create steam. Steam creates pressure and pressure will seal off the back of your pressure valve. So make sure that pressure valve in back is in the closed position. That's pulling it towards the back, all right? So this is going to take a minute, but when it does, this front panel that says on is going to change to 8 minutes. Then those 8 minutes are gonna count down in numbers. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? When it hits 1 or when it hits 0, it'll take a moment and it's gonna beep at us. At that point, we will release the pressure. We're going to do what's called a quick release today. And that's when we open up the pressure valve when the cooking time is done, and we're gonna let that pressure just shoot up to the ceiling and release all that pressure. Simple enough, right? Okay, the cool thing about this recipe, the recipe is written for about 2.5 pounds, but of course, I mean, it's mashed potatoes, you guys. It's not rocket science here. You could do 3 pounds, but you can do an entire 5-pound bag of potatoes, which sometimes you might need for Thanksgiving. All that 5-pound will fit in here with this recipe. You'll want to add a little more milk. You'll want to add a little more butter at the end, maybe a little more cream cheese, but you can make it fit. Isn't that great? So if you're inviting mom and dad and Aunt Susie and Uncle Joe and the whole kit and caboodle, you will have plenty of mashed potatoes for everybody. Kind of fun. Hi, Kathy, how are you? Kathy says, I do potatoes in a steamer basket so they aren't in the water. I like the texture much better. Yes, okay, great point, Kathy. You can do them in a steamer basket. So some of you watching at home, maybe you're asking, what is a steamer basket? They make them for the pressure cooker. Basically, it looks like a colander because it's just got holes all the way through it, and you can put your vegetables, your potatoes, whatever in the basket, and it helps lift them up out of the water. I do find when you're doing the steamer basket that you do have to cook them sometimes a little longer, especially if you're doing a larger batch like I'm doing. When you cook them in the liquid, they will absorb some of that liquid, which means you're gonna use less milk on the backside when you're mixing everything up. Great point there. Hi, Trelva, how are you? Sherry says you can't have too many mashed potatoes. Okay, true story. So today I was prepping all the ingredients and my husband brought potatoes to me. He's like, how many do you want? And I'm like, I don't know. I need like 2.5, 3 pounds. And so I got out my kitchen scale to weigh the potatoes. And I was laughing because you should never have to weigh potatoes for mashed potatoes, right? Just throw them in the pot add as much milk as you need to creamy them up, right? But when I do these recipes live, I like to give you guys some measurements so that you have something to go off of so you can make those adjustments. It was just kind of something funny that happened here. Very funny. Let's see. All right, now I got to back up. Hi, Sherry. Sherry's from Nebraska. Amy says, I use a 6-cup Nordic Ware bundt pan that fits perfectly in the 8-quart. Okay, I know exactly what you're using. It's just a little, I've got a bundt pan, but it's one of the bigger ones. But you're using a cute little one. I bet that's so pretty. I bet that is so pretty to do the corn pudding in a bundt pan. You could also, if you're not doing it in your pressure cooker and you want to do it in your oven, you could do it in a cast iron pan as well. You could do it in an oval casserole dish. There's lots of different ways that you can do it. But I do like that bundt pan. I might have to try it. That is fun. Kathy says, I love leftover mashed potatoes for shepherd's pie. Yes, absolutely. It's a great idea. Okay, I don't think I dropped the link for the mashed potatoes. I also want to give a couple of shout outs. This weekend, I was able to meet some viewers randomly. And so, hello, you know who you are. I'm not going to call you out by name, but it's so wonderful that you join in and you follow along. And so thank you. I also met a viewer who had just won an Instant Pot, a 6-quart Instant Pot, and had no idea what to do with it. And I invited her to come and watch and learn. And so if you're watching, welcome. I'm Rebecca. We met the other night. That was a lot of fun. It's always so good to have you viewers come in and say hello. It really, really is. This part of just hanging out, like, what are you guys prepping for? What are you doing? Is the fun part, right? So here we are, a week and a half-ish ahead of Thanksgiving. What else can you be doing to help prep for the busy day? Pies. It's time to work on your pies. This weekend is a perfect time to make pies, bake them. You can freeze them and then pull them out the night before so they can unthaw or thaw, and they will be beautiful and perfect for your big event on Thanksgiving. You guys know I have some of my favorite, the eggnog no-bake pie. You've seen me make that many times, along with the peppermint no-bake pie. A fan favorite, hands down fan favorite, that you guys go buku nuts over every year is the chocolate peanut butter cheesecake-ish pie. Oh, it is so creamy. It is so good. So good. That is a viewer favorite for Thanksgiving. And then you have your obvious choices, your pecan pie. Now, all these recipes I have on my website. You can find them under desserts, under the pie category. They're so simple. You'll see them popping up on Facebook this week to get everybody in the mood for our Thanksgiving desserts. Kathy says, I'm making your pecan pie. Kathy, you've probably heard me before. You've been a follower for a long time. Pecan pie as a kid was never a favorite of mine. Never. It wasn't until I, had a more mature palate that I started to understand why pecan pie was so good. As a kid, I couldn't appreciate why anyone would want to eat a pie that was nothing but nuts. And now I'm so grateful that the children have not figured out how good pecan pie is, because then there's more for me to eat. And so I have no problem when the nieces and nephews kind of scrunch their nose like, no, I don't want that one. I want the eggnog, or I want the peppermint, or I want the peanut butter chocolate pie. And I get it. Totally get it. My boy's favorite pie. You guys want to know what that is? Some of you have followed along long enough that you may even know what my boy's favorite pie is. I'm going to wait a minute to see if you guys have any guesses. I've talked a lot. This is also a great time. You can do your dishes. You can rinse things out, load up your dishwasher, make things easier for later. I know on the big day, I'm super big on washing dishes as I go. I start the morning with an empty dishwasher. I rinse everything. I hand wash all the big stuff so that it doesn't fill up my dishwasher. And then I use the dishwasher for all the little things. So that when I sit down for dinner, my kitchen is all clean with the exception of the plates and stuff that we're using. Which, by the way, here's a fun tip. It makes it super simple for your guests to help clean up dinner dishes if your kitchen is already clean. They're able to get in the kitchen, rinse those dinner plates, glasses, everything that you've used, and help load the dishwasher. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Hey Peggy, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Again, we are live on Facebook and on YouTube. What are you guys looking forward to with the holidays? I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to be this year. My life has been a lot crazy, as you guys well know. We were planning on being here in Utah for Thanksgiving, although I don't know where we're going to be. We may not. I just saw a bunch of hearts and thumbs up go across the screen. Now, these two recipes today, they do take a little bit more time. Let me drop some other links for you guys. Let me pull this laptop in just a little closer. Okay, you guys remember last week. Last week we made the homemade cranberry sauce. That was a recipe that is done super simple with a 12-ounce bag of cranberries. Use some sugar, some orange juice, some orange zest, cinnamon stick, and you pressure cook that. It makes the most delicious cranberry sauce imaginable. Last week we also made cranberry brie bites, which are a fun and tasty appetizer. So good. Remember last week I made some where I put some crushed or chopped up pecans on top? Those ones were excellent. Like, I love the combination of the tart from the cranberry with the brie cheese and the crunch from the puff pastry. But the little bit of the pecans on top, give it a try. It was really good if you have pecans laying around. So those are two recipes we did last week. Last week was kind of a blur. But here comes the cranberry brie bite recipe. My goal with all these lives is to help you at home with your menu planning. You can just see how easy it is and things you can make and get some of your stuff done ahead of time, because the big day is so exhausting, right? So exhausting. Okay, then probably the week before that, we did candied pecans. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was. Now, candied pecans, I have a cute free printable, because candied pecans are a wonderful neighbor gift that you can put them in a little baggie or in a little piping bag. So it's the triangle bags with this cute gift tag. You can deliver to your neighbors, your coworkers. You can even leave one for the mailman or your UPS people. They're just a lot of fun. They're also wonderful to chop up and use on salads, which is what we do all winter long. If I left them in the whole nut form, we would eat them like all day long because they're so magnificent. So I like to chop them up and add them to salads. They just give a fun twist, like a boring garden salad with just, lettuce and maybe a tomato or cucumber. I just like to elevate my salads a little bit. Like a little red onion, like some bell pepper. Sometimes I do like a southwestern salad. Oh, Amy, you're wonderful. Amy just added the link to her Nordic Ware bunt. It's a 6-cup. I can smell the corn pudding, you guys. Can you smell it? Bill's nodding his head. I can totally smell it. Oh, Kathy, listen. All right, Kathy just said, I'm going to try your air fryer grand biscuits for Thanksgiving. That recipe is bonkers on my site. In fact, I wish I had a can of Grand's biscuits, because if I had had a can, I would have demoed them today in this empty time while we're waiting for all this stuff to happen. And so, yeah, they're so simple, you know, like I was telling my mom, you know, my parents are 80 years old, and doing a big Thanksgiving is definitely hard. And so, you know, when the parents get older, or when you're visiting grandma, you know, make sure you volunteer to bring something, and bring rolls from home that you buy at Costco or your favorite bakery, or that you make and package up from home. But making the Grand's biscuits in the air fryer is so simple. It's like silly, stupid simple. I don't have that link, but Bill, will you go grab that link and drop it in? When you make these, Kathy, will you please, and anyone else who's made these, will you go back and put a review on it and give it a star rating? That recipe's gone really well on Google and some of the other platforms. And so those reviews just really help give it a bump up. Sure appreciate that. Okay. The other recipe that we did is the cranberry pecan stuffing. Now, the link that I just dropped for the cranberry pecan stuffing, that is my secret recipe, trick, hack, whatever you want to call it. Nobody believes me when I tell them it is made with stovetop stuffing, right? Stovetop is great. It's an easy box mix. But some people want, or think they want, to make like stuffing that you would stuff inside of your turkey and bake all day. And they realize how much work and effort it is, and they're exhausted, and it was way more than they thought they wanted to do. So this recipe for cranberry pecan stuffing using a stovetop stuffing mix is so silly stupid, but it just is this pop of flavor, because it's what you're adding to the recipe. By adding some onions and some celery and those chopped pecans and some craisins in there, the flavors are just elevated, and it is a favorite. Every year when I've hosted, people ask me, I want that recipe, I want that recipe. And I have to whisper to them, like, look, I'll give it to you. But it's so easy, it's embarrassing. So make it. Your friends and family will love it. Absolutely love it. Okay. No, you did not grab the right ones. I don't see that. I only see, oh, it's down below. Okay, so Bill's just dropping biscuit recipes, but the second recipe that he dropped is for the canned Grand's biscuits. Kathy says, thanks, Bill. Peggy says, I made the stuffing last year. It was delicious. Thank you, thank you. All right, this is almost pressuring up. Almost. It does take a while when you have that much water to bring to a boil. For sure. There we go. All right, that's gonna do its magic. We're gonna hear it beep in a minute or so, and then we're gonna see it go to 8 minutes. And that's when it's gonna start counting down. Super simple. In the meantime, we've been baking for about almost 25 minutes. Ooh. It looks good. Okay, I'm gonna drop the link for the oven baked corn pudding again, because if any of you have joined in late and you're wondering, what on earth are we making today? We started the hour by making corn pudding. Now, corn pudding is, how do we describe it? Those of you at home, I want to hear in the comments, how would you describe corn pudding to somebody who's never had corn pudding? First of all, it has the word pudding in it, but it's not like vanilla pudding or chocolate pudding or butterscotch pudding. That's not it. It is a very, very moist cornbread, hint of sweet, not necessarily sweet, that is rich in flavor and texture. Tell me what you think. How would you describe corn pudding to somebody? That's what I want to know. Amy just dropped the stuffing recipe again. Thank you, Amy. Did my stuffing recipe not get in there? Oh yeah, it did. Okay, good. Another recipe that I have on my site, Bill, I don't have this link, is for sweet potato mash. So instead of making mashed potatoes with like russet potatoes, you can make mashed potatoes very similarly with sweet potatoes. Now, why would you want to make sweet potato mash? Ding, ding, ding. Have you guys made the casserole sweet potatoes with the toasted marshmallows on top? Right? A favorite for Thanksgiving? Make your own sweet potato mash. You can season it up a little sweeter with a little more cinnamon, and then put it in your baking dish and top with your marshmallows and toast those up. Super, super simple. We love those. Okay, Peggy says, quick question. I think I remember you saying, can you proof rose rolls, frozen rolls, and the yogurt setting? Yes, you can, Peggy. Okay, so let me explain Peggy's question. That's a great question. The yogurt setting on your pressure cooker is magnificent to make yogurt, right? That's a whole different day. But it's incredible to proof your yeast bread dough in half the time, right? So, Peggy, what I like to do is I like to take, you know, my little pan, my flat bottom pan that I use to do pot in the pressure cooker. I spray that and I put my Rhodes rolls in around the edge, not so touching because you remember those have got to rise. And then I put one in the center and I put it in the pressure cooker on yogurt setting with a lid on top, like a dinner plate lid on top. Don't use this lid. You don't need to. And just let it proof. Those little rolls will like pop up and they're so darling. Pull out your pan and then you can bake them as normal. Super simple. All right, you guys are chiming in with how you would describe corn pudding. So Amy said, I grew up calling it corn bake. Kathy says it's on the savory side. Amy says slightly sweet cornbread with some bits of corn. Yes, all of those things. It's a savory dish. It's kind of cornbread, but cornbread is drier. It's got the bits of whole corn, but we also have creamed corn throughout it, which helps make it extra moist. And then we've added melted butter and we've added sour cream. So that it's just that richness of flavors. But it's a savory dish. All right, now I got one more question for you. How do you serve it? So Amy, I know how you serve it because yours is beautiful in a bundt pan and you flip it out and it has the beautiful molded look to it and you probably slice it, is my guess, right? Okay, Bill just dropped the sweet potato mash. For the rest of you, how do you serve corn pudding? Do you slice it? Do you just scoop it out because you've put it in a casserole dish? Do you, what do you do? I'm going to show you what I do when this is all baked up because it's fun. I think it's fun. All right, if you guys haven't given this video a thumbs up yet, please do. Give me some hearts. And also a big shout out. If you have shared this video either on your own timeline, you've copied the link and sent it to a friend, or you've put it into a group so that others can see, big hugs from me to you. It means so, so much. As these videos get out there and people are able to see the videos, it helps them and it helps me. And so thank you so much for taking the time to feel that this content is worthy enough to share. I'm so grateful to all of you at home. I couldn't do what I do without you. I just love and adore you all. Like I truly, truly do. And this time of year, I am so humbled because so many of you are making my recipes for your families. and Thanksgiving is a big holiday with a lot of stress, and you're choosing my recipes to put on your table to share with friends and family to make memories by. And that just warms my heart and gives me goosebumps every year. So thank you, thank you. Peggy says, I love corn casserole. I add some cheddar cheese to mine. Yes, you can add cheddar cheese. I love that. Peggy gave me the A-OK. That helps a lot. Love it, Peggy. You're gonna do great. Those are gonna be beautiful. So Amy, who bakes hers in a bundt pan, she says, I put them on the round pan on a trivet since it's not directly in the pot. And I use, oh, she's talking about rolls. Never mind. Amy says, we actually just scoop it right out of the bundt pan. Okay, that works too, Amy. Mary says, I've never had corn pudding. Listen, make it, Mary. It's fantastic. It is so good. All right, we are starting to get golden around the edges. So I'm gonna give it 9 minutes tops. This over here has done its thing. We're on 5 minutes left. Oh, this is both gonna come out at the same time. I love it. Amy says, I'll have to try to pop it out onto a plate this year. You know, Amy, I'm curious if it will pop out on a plate, and it may not. The reason I say that is because corn pudding is really moist. And for cakes to pop out of a bundt pan, it's because they have formed that crust layer. And as it cools, it shrinks so that it will flip out. I don't know that corn pudding will because it's so moist. Just a thought. Just a thought. Oh, Mary says, I have had corn casserole. I didn't realize it was the same thing as corn pudding. You know, it can be known by lots of different names. I don't know how else to say that. Yeah, it can be known by many, many, many different things. For sure. All right, you guys, what else should we talk about? I feel like there's so much going on. So this last week, I had my wood floors done in my house up in Idaho. And it went really well until it didn't go really well. So we've still got some more work. The contractors have to come back, which we all know how fun it is when contractors have to come back. But they're being wonderful. No bad reviews. They're being wonderful. And they're going to take care of it. It's not a problem. It's just going to take more time. But that's why I was able to come back this week. So next week, I am not sure where I'm going to be. If I'm here in Utah, I will definitely go live. If for some reason I'm not here in Utah, I will post it so that you guys know. So plan on it for next Sunday, and we'll just play it by ear. Amy says, that's what I was thinking too. Yes, corn casserole can also be corn pudding, although this may be totally me, okay? I feel like when I've had a corn casserole, corn pudding is a little sweet. The 2 tablespoons of sugar that we added to the mix, it's a little more sweet, but corn casserole is more savory, and you'll typically find some additional add-ins, whether it's green chilies, or sometimes people will do like the can of Rotel tomatoes where they drain out the juice, but you have the little bits of tomatoes and the little bits of chilies to give it more of that zing. So I've seen that. But again, your guess is as good as mine. Totally. Peggy says, I think it depends on where you're from. Oh, 100%. You guys, we could get on a mayonnaise conversation here. I think it's probably the best way to explain where you're from is the type of mayonnaise you use. whether it's like Best Foods mayonnaise, or pretty quickly you guys are going to chime in with all of your favorites. You've got Hellmann's, you've got Best Foods, you've got Dick's, there's so many. But what's interesting is they're not all sold across the country. So some of the mayonnaises that people like back east, we can't get in the West, which baffles my mind, right? I mean, this is the US. Why aren't we having all products everywhere? Crazy, right? If it sells good on the East Coast, why not try it in the West? See if we like it too. So very much, Peggy, it really does depend on where you're from. Sherry likes Hellmann's. I do Best Foods, Hellmann's. However, there's a couple of them that I have ordered to try in the past. Look. Okay, we're beeping. It's done. We're going to release this pressure and get this mashed potatoes going because I'm hungry. So to release the pressure, we're going to open up the pressure valve. We're going to let that steam shoot up to the ceiling. But quite literally, we've got water line up to here. So what's going to happen? It's going to spit at us. Guaranteed, it's going to spit at us. Do not panic. Let's prepare you for it now, right? We're going to open that up, move your pressure cooker away from your cabinet, away from your light fixtures. I'm going to just push that over there a little bit. But if it starts spitting at us, I'm going to come around the back and I'm going to close it. I'm not going to put my hand over the top. That's going to burn you. Go underneath and behind and get that valve and close it. Let things settle and then open it back up. That easy. Okay, let's check the corn. Okay, you guys, don't let me let it sit in there more than 3 minutes. Because I think it's done. I don't know. There we go. Duke's. Doreen's like, Duke's is the only one to use. We've got a lot of Hellmann's. Kathy, what is Berman's from Aldi? I've never had that kind. Now, when I go to Arizona, they have an Aldi down there, and I'm going to have to look for it. Berman's from Aldi. Okay. Amy likes Duke's. Tell you what, it depends on what part of the country you're from. Okay, that was spitting at me. You don't want all of that hot water, that starchy water spraying all over. Close it, let it sit for a minute, and then we'll open it back up. In the meantime, I'm going to pull out the corn pudding because I think it's done. That is definitely done. We're going to let that sit. We're going to let it sit. I'm going to show it to you. Don't worry. Okay, how do you guys cut your corn? Brenda. Okay, Brenda's watching over on YouTube. Brenda says, I can't see the chat on YouTube. Brenda, the chat will only show on YouTube the people who are on YouTube watching live. The chat on Facebook will only show the chat from Facebook. So the reason you can't see anything is because everyone is commenting on Facebook, which is why I try to repeat the questions that they're putting so that everyone, regardless of where you're watching from, knows the question and gets the answer. Peggy says that she loves Aldi and they have the best cheeses. Abigail. Welcome, Abigail. I haven't seen you on here before. Welcome. Definitely Duke's. Do we have any newcomers? Will you raise your hand? Will you say hi in the chat? I have to tell you, Amy from the Instant Pot 101 for Beginners, her team of admins and moderators who join me week after week are incredible, along with my top fans who are also here as well. They help answer questions if I don't get to them, which is amazing. This is a place for beginners, intermediate, and advanced pressure cookers users, because no question is silly. We're all here to learn, and we all learn things, little nuggets, every time we come. So if you're new to pressure cooking and you're afraid of opening the pressure valve or whatever it is, please come here and ask your questions, because that is my hope, that I can teach you at home my love for using these small appliances to help make your recipes come to life, and that you try new and different things for your loved ones, for your family, and for yourself. It's so important. Hey, Ted. Ted says, hi, sweet friends. Ted, I was hoping to see you this last week. If you just joined in, I just got back from Idaho. But I'll be back, rest assured. Brenda says I switched to Facebook. I love it. Hey, Abigail says first timer. Welcome, welcome, Abigail. Happy to have you here. Put your questions in the comments. Like, we're here to help. That's our job, is to help. All right, this is still releasing pressure. So let's show you. Let's show you my corn pudding. Remember, that pan is really hot, and I'm going to show you. So it kind of looks like cornbread. Now you'll want to test it with a toothpick. I was watching this, and I can see that the edges are, you know, turning golden. But you know how I like to serve it? I'm going to show you with a cookie scoop. I know all of you at home are going, what? No, a cookie scoop. Let me get a plate. Like, it's my favorite. Okay? You can do a big one like this is. And I like to kind of press it in and put it on the plate. And it just makes this cute little there we go. All right, where are we focusing? There we are. You see that? It's just darling. It's just simple. You guys know that when we eat with our eyes first. And it's so important to, you know, just see a different presentation, right? Sometimes cornbread to me is the most blasé item. And you have to like really love cornbread to go, oh, I want that, right? So use a cookie scoop. Now that was a big one, but you could do a smaller one, because that's a lot. But you could use, this one is a size 24. This one is, I think it's a 12. Yeah, this one's a 12. And this one's a 24. So you could do smaller. I'll show you what that looks like. This is the smaller one. These are the bigger ones. Super simple. I'm going to taste it. There we go. So texture. Let's talk about it. Oh, focus. There we go. I'll try to get up as close as I can. So it's, like I said, more moist, right? Where cornbread is more dry and kind of sometimes gets crumbly. This isn't crumbly. I could eat this whole thing. I won't, but I could. Tell you what. You get the bits of corn. You get the sweetness. Amazing. In fact, I think corn pudding is wonderful if you serve when you make enchiladas. Do enchiladas, do rice, do a scoop of this on the side. Actually, a Mexican restaurant in California growing up, this is how I was first introduced to corn pudding. And I would beg them for 2 scoops. They did it in a cookie scoop, little scoop, but they were smaller. And I would beg them, can I please have 2 scoops? Loved it. All right, let's make these mashed potatoes. This is fast, you guys. Now, we're gonna get this lid out of the way. We need to drain the potatoes. So if you were using a steamer basket, you would lift your potatoes out, which is what I think it was Kathy who said that earlier. But since our potatoes are in water, we're gonna lift these out. I'm turning on cold water in my sink so that the hot water, we don't get so much steam. Now, I'm taking just a moment and rinsing the pot. Just to get some of the starches out. All right. There we go. Good old-fashioned potato masher. This is my grandmother's, you guys. Mash those potatoes up. I love how easily the potatoes mash. Doing potatoes in the pressure cooker. When I do them on the stove, I feel like I have just a huge mess of starchy water boiling over that it's just miserable. So you're gonna mash these. You can get the lumps out. Now the best part about mashed potatoes is a couple of lumps. Okay, if you do prefer no lumps, you can use like your hand mixer to help knock out any of those lumps. I have found it's best to use your hand mixer before you start adding all your other ingredients. All right, we are gonna add softened cream cheese. I'm gonna add about 4 ounces of cream cheese. And because of the heat of the potatoes, the cream cheese, if it's been softened, will mix in here rather easily. And so I just kind of cut off a little bit until I get about 4 ounces. Throw that in. And then we're gonna add butter. And again, on the butter, I just am gonna cut it. Now, fun fact, these mashed potatoes are our daughter-in-law's absolute favorite. She craves these when she's pregnant. She craves them for Thanksgiving. She craves them all year long. All right, and then I'm gonna stir some of this in because I want those to kind of melt. I want the butter to melt. I want the cream cheese to melt in. And then I'm gonna add, you can add milk, whipping cream, half and half. Okay, but here's something my mom taught me. Sometimes my mom is watching, so if my mom is watching, she's gonna get a big smile on her face because I learned this from her. She taught me that whenever you add your milk, whether it's milk, whole milk, half and half, whipping cream, whatever, get it out of the fridge while everything is cooking. So it's not ice cold. You could even pop it in the microwave and just warm it up. It doesn't need to be boiling. But if you're gonna put ice cold milk from the fridge into your hot potatoes, it's gonna cool them off. We don't want that. So I'm adding a little bit of half and half, and I'm gonna stir. Now you don't want to add all your all your milk or half and half at once, because remember, potatoes we're measuring with love, and we're not putting them on a scale to decide how many we're cooking, right? So if you put in too much of your milk, you're going to have runny potatoes, and nobody wants runny potatoes. So do it little at a time and mix it up. We almost have the consistency I want. Almost. Now, at this point, you want to salt, you want to pepper. Don't leave these potatoes saltless. We put some in the water. Look at how creamy those are. Oh. We're going to add some more salt. We're going to add pepper. Okay, I'm going to say season with your heart. You guys know how much pepper you like in foods. I've got at least 1/4 teaspoon of pepper in this, but I will likely add more. Stir that all up. All right. And because time is running short, I am just going to directly put it on my plate with remember, I like mashed potatoes. When everyone else does 1 or 2 scoops, I go in for an extra. It's just who I am, you guys. I just love it. Now, because you can't hardly see it, because it's white on white, I'm going to add a little bit of parsley just to pop it up so you can see it a little better on the plate. Is that better? Does that help stand it out? A little pop of color. And then there. What do we think? There we go. Corn pudding, creamy mashed potatoes in the Instant Pot. Thanksgiving dinner could not be easier. Now I want to tell you, it seems like a long time when I do these lives and I'm live for an hour and you're like, oh my gosh, that's a long time. But remember, the whole time those potatoes are cooking, you are free to do other things. And if you cooked on the stove, you would be babysitting those potatoes the whole time. It also heats your kitchen up. And on Thanksgiving, houses are already hot enough for some reason with all the extra people. Try them in the pressure cooker. They won't disappoint. They're so good. All right, my fork is around here somewhere. You know I want some of these. I love them with butter, but I do love them with gravy. They're so good. They're so good. I love what the cream cheese does. Just helps creamy it up. You guys, I'm in my happy place. Carbs are my happy place. Abigail says, looks delicious. She says, love peppery mashed potatoes. Peggy says, yum. Peggy says, I warm up my milk and butter first. Very smart. Sherry says, yummy. Abigail says, I missed the corn pudding recipe. Well, let me help you, friend. I got you covered. In the links, and this is for everybody, in the description on both YouTube and on Facebook, it has the links to the 2 recipes that we did today. I always link those in the description so that if the chats don't show up later, you still have those in the description and you can always find them there. However, my website, devourdinner.com, has all of my recipes. And there's a little magnifying glass feature that you can go to and you can search for recipes. I do find with the searches on recipe websites, that you're better off, like this recipe, just put in corn. And all the recipes with corn will show up, and you'll be able to find the corn pudding one quicker. Because sometimes you don't know, did I call it corn pudding? Did I call it corn casserole? And if you type in corn pudding, it won't come up if I titled it corn casserole, or vice versa. So if you're having trouble finding a recipe, it's because maybe you use too many words and maybe use less words, and it'll pull up easier. All right, you guys, you're all amazing. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I truly, truly appreciate you all so much. Plan on me live next week. That's the hope and goal. We still have another week before we have the big day. Have a fantastic week. Stay safe. Remember to be kind. Give yourself some grace. There's a lot going on in this world, and we could all stand to use a little grace in our lives. All right, everybody. Big hugs. We'll see you later. Bye.